What's my read?
Okay.
Oh, I read the start. Start at the beginning, that makes sense.
It's not blurry at the moment.
Huh?
It's good now.
Okay, that's fine, that's fine.
Do you want to have a look, mate?
It's cool, man. So, hi. Buenos Cameron Diaz. Welcome to Pedro TV. Welcome to the corridor upstairs room for Bloomsday. How are you, Julie?
I'm fabulous. I'm so excited.
That's
Bloomsday.
fantastic. That's great. It's good. So you should be. I should explain. Bloomsday happens every year on the 16th of June. Around the world, people come together to read from this book, Ulysses by James Joyce. I shall read from the beginning. Stately, plump Buck Mulligan came from the stairhead, bearing a bowl of lather, on which a mirror and a razor lay crossed. A yellow dressing gown, ungirdled, was sustained gently behind him on the mild morning air. Okay, that's the beginning. That introduces one of the characters, but there are three main characters: Leopold Bloom and his wife Molly Bloom, and an acquaintance called Stephen Dedalus. And the whole story is on one day in Dublin and how the three characters meet and interact. So I'm going to ask Julie to read the next passage.
Okay.
Okay, so
40 verses. Okay, here we go.
no, I'm going to edit it all out. So I'll just get you a bit of
Nice
a
passage.
Did you ever read Molly Bloom? Okay. It's just any bit will do.
I don't think myself into the glooms about that anymore. I wonder why he wouldn't stay the night. I felt all the time it was somebody strange he brought in instead of roving through the city, meeting God knows who, night walkers and pickpockets. His poor mother wouldn't like that. If she was alive, ruining him for the life perhaps. Still, it's a lovely hour, so silent. I used to come home after dances, the air of the night. They have friends they can talk to whenever either he wants what he won't get, or it's some woman ready to stick a knife in you. I hate that woman. No wonder they treat us all the way they do, the dreadful lot of bitches. I suppose it's all the troubles we have. Makes us so snappy. I'm not like that. He would have easy have slept in there on the sofa in the other room, I suppose. He was as shy as a boy, him being so young, hardly 20 of me in the next room. Would have heard me on the chamber, whereas what harm, Dedalus? I wonder. It's like those names in Gibraltar. Delapus, Delagracia. They had the devil's queer names there. Father Villaplana of Santa Maria that gave me the rosary. Rosalie's O'Reilly in the Casa de Siete of Aviata, Epismodor, and Mrs. Opistamo in Garviner Street. Oh, what a name. I'd go down and drown myself in the first river if I had a name like her. Oh my, and all the bits of street, Paradise Ramp and Bedlam Ramp and Rogers Ramp and Cratchit's Ramp and the Devil's Gap Steps. Well, small blame to me if I'm a harum-scarum. I know I'm a bit, I declare to God, I don't feel a day older then. And I wonder, could I get my tongue round any of the Spanish Cosmo Este Hasta Maya Bien Gracia Ilustre? I see, I haven't forgotten it at all.
Jingled into Dorset Street. Miss Duce withdrew her satiny arm, reproachful. Pleased. Don't make half so free, said she, till we are better acquainted. George Lidwell told her really and truly, but she did not believe. First gentleman told Mina that was so. She asked him, was it so? And second tankard told her so. That was so. Miss Duce, Miss Lydia did not believe. Miss Kennedy, Mina, did not believe. George Lidwell, no, Miss Dow did not. The first, gent with the tank. Believe, no, did not, Miss Ken. Liddy Direwell, the tank. Better write it here. Quills in the post office, chewed and twisted. Bald patted a sign drew nigh. A pen and ink. He went. A pad. He went. A pad to blot. He heard. Death pat. Yes, Mr. Bloom said, teasing the curling catgut line. It certainly is. Few lines will do. My present. All that Italian florid music is. Who is this throat? Know the name you know better. Take out sheet notepaper, envelope, unconcerned. It's so characteristic. Grandest number in the whole opera, Golding said. It is, Bloom said. Numbers it is. All music when you come to think. 2 multiplied by 2 divided by half is twice 1. Vibrations, chords those are. 1 plus 2 plus 6 is 7.
I've just explained to everyone that this is set in the library. Stephen Dedalus, the young man, has found his way there. He'll meet up with some of his medical student friends who he shares his living quarters with. Anyway, they all sit around, there's a few writers, a few scholars around, and they're just talking. So it starts, between the Saxon smile and Yankee yaw, the devil and the deep sea. He would have it that Hamlet is a ghost story, John Eglinton said, from Mr. Best's Verhoof. Like the fat boy in Pickwick, he wants to make our flesh creep. What is a ghost? Stephen said with tingling energy. One who has faded into impalpability through death, through absence, through change of manners. Elizabethan London lay as far from Stratford as corrupt Paris lies from virgin Dublin. Who is the ghost from limbo Partram, returning to the world that has forgotten him? Who is King Hamlet? John Eglinton shifted his spare body, leaning back to judge. Lifted. It is this hour of a day in mid-June, Stephen said, begging with a swift glance their hearing. The flag is up on the playhouse by the bankside. The bare Saracen growls in the pit near it, Paris Garden. Canvas climbers who sailed with Drake chew their sausages among the groundlings. Local colour, work in all you know, make them accomplices. Shakespeare has left the Huguenot's house in Silver Street and walks by the Swan Mews along the riverbank. But he does not stay to feed the pen, chivying her game of signets towards the rushes. The Swan of Avon has other thoughts. Composition of place. Ignatius Loyola, make haste to help me. The play begins. A player comes on under the shadow, made up in the cast-off mail of a court buck. A well-set man with a bass voice. It is the ghost, the king. A king and no king. And the player is Shakespeare, who has studied Hamlet all the years of his life, which were not vanity, in order to play the part of the sceptre. He speaks the words to Burbage, the young player who stands before him beyond the rack of cerecloth, calling him by a name. Hamlet, I am thy father's spirit, bidding him list. To a son who he speaks, the son of his soul, the prince, young Hamlet, and to the son of his body, Hamnet Shakespeare, who has died in Stratford, that his namesake may live forever. Is it possible that that player Shakespeare, a ghost by absence, and in the vesture of buried Denmark, a ghost by death, speaking his own words to his own son's name, had Hamlet Shakespeare lived, he would have been Prince Hamlet's twin. Is it possible, I want to know, or probable, that he did not draw or foresee the logical conclusion of those premises? You are the dispossessed son. I am the murdered father. Your mother is the guilty queen. Anne Shakespeare, born Hathaway. Beautiful. Well done. So that's his theory. That's his theory, and a lot of the intelligent writers dismiss him, as an upstart who hasn't written a book. He aspires to write books, hasn't written a book, but is full of talk about books. And so he then moves out of the library, Bloom follows him, and the story continues. Okay, Joe's going to read from one of the opening chapters where we actually meet the characters of Leopold Bloom as he makes breakfast for his wife Molly, who hardly gets out of bed. She's an opera singer, semi-professional. Anyway, so take it away, Joe.
Mr. Leopold Bloom ate with relish the inner organs of beasts and fowls. He liked thick giblet soup, nutty gizzards, a stuffed roast tart, liver slices fried with crust crumbs, fried hen cod's roes. Most of all, he liked grilled mutton kidneys, which gave to his palate a fine tang of faintly scented urine. Kidneys were in his mind as he moved around the kitchen softly. writing her breakfast things on the humpy tray. Gathered light and air were in the kitchen, but out of doors, gentle summer morning everywhere made him feel a bit peckish. The coals were reddening. Another slice of bread and butter. 3, 4, right. She didn't like her plate full. Right. He turned from the tray, lifted the kettle off the hob and set it sideways on the fire. It sat there, dull and squat, its spout stuck out. Cup of tea soon. Good. Mouth dry. The cat walked softly round the leg of the table with tail on high. Mignon? Oh, there you are, Mr. Bloom said, turning from the fire. The cat mewed an answer and stalked again stiffly round the leg of the table, mewing. Just how she stalks over my writing table. Purr. Scratch my head. Purr. Mr. Bloom watched curiously.
Desire comes stealing out of the blue, running you through. And who will say that love is strong, love is true? And who will fight for love? See, everyone has failed, lovers in their past. But if we face that truth, what we have